Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to take you through the GeoGebra view or function called the Graphing Calculator into detail. We are going to look at the various tools under the graphical GeoGebra calculator function or view. So what you need to do, you open your GeoGebra calculator suite. So here we are. So for today, we're going to focus on this algebra and then tools. This algebra displays the numbers or the calculations behind each command that you're going to apply in the graphing tool. So when you look at the graphing tool here, this is the grid. This has been basically designed for graphing functions or plotting graphs. You have the y-axis here, you have the x-axis, and this one normally graphs functions in 2D or 2 dimensions. So before you get into graphing functions using this graphing tool, or graphing function, you need to know a few settings. So when you click on this settings button here, what you see, you have these options here, show axis. You see it's checked or ticked. When you uncheck it, the axes disappear. And I don't think you want to work when the axes are not visible. And then when you also uncheck this, the grids disappear. So you remain with a blank space. But since our main interest of coming here is to see how to use this function for graphing, then we need all the settings turned on. We need our grid on, and then we also need the axis. Since our main interest here is looking at the graphing function of this, so we need our axis on, and even the grids must be on. Still under this setting, you see you have several options for the grid. The first one here is when you have this kind of grid here with the small squares and big squares combined. And when you click on this, you don't have the small squares, you have only the big squares. And then when you click on this, you have the polar axis. You have the polar axis. Then when you click on this, you see you have this kind of axis here. When you point at it here, this is isometric. Then when you come here also, we have the dots. So we have several types of axes. And when you open settings, you have other options here that now you will choose according to your will or your desire. You have the x-axis here, you have the y-axis, and then the grid options, which we looked at. These basics here. You can change the colors, showing axis, bold, and those stuff. Then when you come to x-axis here, we have a very important setting here, distance. So when you click on this option, this distance is the points or each unit at each point in the x-axis. You see here, the distance is 1 unit. From 0 to the next point is 1 unit. You can change it to pi, you see, it has changed. So that means the distance between each points on the x-axis is pi, or pi out of 2. This one is useful in graphing trigonometric functions. So if you're doing algebraic functions, I think it's better to work with the 1 or this integer here. Then the label, you can change the label of the x-axis. Here you have the default one, which is x. You can put alpha, beta, y, depending on what you're working with. You can scroll down and check. There's so many other options here. So that depends on your choice. Then you have units, degrees, pi, centimeters. So the settings, you just change them according to your wish. The same thing is done on the y-axis. We shall explore more settings as we plot. So let's go back to the grids that we are familiar with. These major grids and then the minor grids. Then you see these options here on this side. This one is for zooming. You see here, when you put the pointer, is zoom to fit. Come here, this one is zoom in. When you click on zoom in, you see you enlarge the page. Then this one is for shrinking. Then this option takes you to the full screen. And this one is standard view. So when we go to tools here we have the first tool here is the move tool. So this one is for moving objects on the grid space here. So if you click on each tool, let's go back to the move. When you click on the move tool, you see GeoGebra gives you directions or instructions. So this one is for dragging or selecting objects. Then when you click on point, still select position or line or function or curve. So here we want to make a point. you come and click on point, then you select the position where you think the point should be. At this point, you see we have point A, point B is there, point C. So anywhere you want your points to be, you can select. As simple as that. Then we have another tool here called the slider. Slider is just a tool for creating variables in GeoGebra. So you use it for creating variables that you wish to manipulate. So I click the point where the slider should be. When you click, you see you have options here. Do you want the slider to be a number? Do you want it to be an angle or an integer? For now, let's have a number. So you put the minimum value and then the maximum value. For now, let's maintain it between -5 and 5. You can even change. Let's say -10 and 10. Then you have to put the increment. How do you expect the values in the slider to change? Should it change by 1 unit, 2 units, 0.5? For now, let's select 1. Then we click on it. Boom, you have the slider here. So you can drag this across like this. You see, the value is changing. So when you click on each of the objects that you created, you have the setting. So that means you have to use the select tool. And when you click on A here, you see, you have several options: set color, point style, name, delete, and other settings here. So in order to change the color, you click, you see, you change. When you want to change the point style, this is the point settings. Do you want the point to appear like this? Do you want it to be diamond like this? Do you want it to be X like this? You can change. Then the size, you can change from here. The size, do you want it to appear big or small? That one depends on you. And then we have this, changing the name. You can change. Do you want it to be F, X, Y? You can also show the value here. So at this point, it's -84, this coordinate here. If you don't want the label, which is A, and the value to be shown, you can uncheck these boxes and they go. Even for slider, the same thing. Then we have the intersection point. You know what intersection means. You just get the meeting point of two lines or a function on a line. So when you want to use the intersect tool, you have to select intersection or two objects successively. Then the extremum, this one is used for getting the maximum and minimum of functions. Then the roots, you use it for getting the roots, for example, in quadratic equations. Then you have the line of best fit. So this tool is used for getting the line of best fit.